We opened up this topic a few videos ago about open relationships and honouring the person you're in a relationship with, whether it's an intimate relationship, marriage, or whatever, is honouring their highest aspirations and desires, even if that means going off and having sex with some other person or having some other relationship with another person, is to be able to be happy for them. Be happy for them, right? If that's what they want to do. How are we going to get into this? Because I'm looking through the comments and some people just aren't getting it. You know, some people just aren't getting it. You know, somebody said, Tamsin Zara, I think it said, well, you know, you're coming from a place of like presupposition and etc. etc. You know, what if you know, Victoria decided to go out and have sex with someone, then she got pregnant to this other guy? Would you still stick around? You know, when that baby came along or whatever, you know? And again, that's coming from a place of fear and what ifs in a place of fear, you know? And you know, that's like saying, you know, what if you go out in your car and drive, and you're in a fatal collision, or you're in a collision where you become paralyzed? You know, are you still going to do this, or you let your partner go off driving? What if they get into a collision and they're paralyzed? Are you still going to stick around? That's like saying that. You know, it's just ridiculous, right? You know, I've been driving almost as long as I've been having sex, right? I've been having sex. Well, I had sex for 20 years before Victoria got pregnant. Before I made a woman pregnant. You know, 20 years of sex before someone got pregnant. Yeah, with multiple partners. I wasn't abstaining at all, you know. I've been in probably a dozen car crashes, you know, minor to fairly major, right? But it doesn't stop me from driving, you know. Just because of the fear of this will happen. I don't stop anyone else from driving. You're not allowed to drive just in case this happens, you know. Don't come crying to me if you get in a car crash. You know, it's just ridiculous when you really think about it. The only what I see when I read a lot of these comments is people are coming from their programming. They're coming from their programming, and so that's why I use these different analogies, because you know it helps to get around the programming, right? So it's actually, you know, because I was looking into it. This isn't just something I just dreamt up. You know, I've been you know, contemplating and reading and watching videos and things on many things for many years, you know, and it's just now that it's time to talk about this, you know. People ask me questions, so I talk about it, right? So is it in our DNA? Is it in our DNA to have multiple partners, to not be monogamous, but to be what's the term, polyamorous, right? And it seems like it is. I'm not the sort of person that goes back in history and says, because we did something way back then, that's the way we should be now. But it does give some indicators, you know. So our closest relations are chimpanzees and bonobos, right? They're our closest relations. We're actually, DNA-wise, we're actually more closely related to chimpanzees than African elephants are closely related to Indian elephants. We're more closely related to chimpanzees than the two types of elephants are related to each other. So we're pretty closely related. And those animals all have multiple sexual partners all the way through their lives, right? And then there's also been some studies done where they look back and they said, well, actually humans were like that many moons ago, before civilization, before agriculture came in and you know, society, that humans were like that as well. It wasn't that they just didn't, some of them had partners that they stayed with, but they also would have also had other relationships as well, all the way through their life. And you just got to look at the world today, and what's going on just doesn't work. That's the thing, it does not work. People are caught up in this whole fantasy, this whole ideal. You know, how many people do you know that are having affairs? How many people do you know that are marriages are breaking down? That there's all this hurt and pain and suffering going on. I'm just drinking some licorice and different herbal teas because I got a bit of a chesty cough, throaty cough as well. You know, how much of that is going on? It's obvious it doesn't work. There's 50% divorce rate. It's obvious it doesn't work. You know, and so then when I'm saying these things, people say, "Well, that you know what you're saying just wouldn't work in this society." What are you on about? What's happening in our society does not work. You know, it doesn't work. And then there's so many people that may not go and see other people, but secretly they're desiring it so much. You know, and they're going through a life of feeling trapped that they can't. Because they're caught into this thing. We'll say, well, if I do that, my religion says I'm bad, or the society says I'm bad, or, you know, I might not get to heaven, or whatever. It's just so much programming, right? So, you know, that's what I'm talking about. You know, breaking down the programming and getting to a place of being ourselves, not following social, religious ideals. Being ourselves and breaking through our fears. Our fears of, well, if I do that, because that's what I'm still seeing in the comments. I'm still seeing in the comments, well, what if this happened? STDs, what if that happened? What if someone got pregnant? What if, you know, that's what, it's all this fear, right? So somebody has some very valid comments, you know, and I like to read the very valid ones as well. But the other things, I'm just looking at this fear and this place of programming, right? So it does seem to be in our DNA to have multiple partners. What doesn't work is society as it is today. That just doesn't work. You know, how many single mothers are there out there? How many broken families are there out there, or like mothers with like 3 sets of children anyway? It's going on anyway. But the thing is that's happening is it's judged as being bad or being wrong or whatever. You know, that's where the issues lie, right? So we're looking to get to a place of acceptance, of each other, a place of unconditional love, of appreciation for the other person and for what they desire. And someone else commented, well, at the beginning of the relationship, you need to create these boundaries and say what you want and etc., etc. And that's all very well at the start of a relationship where you've got this infatuation for the other person. You think, God, I would do anything for this person, you know? You can't imagine being with another person your whole life because you're infatuated at the start, right? But after that infatuation goes away, things change, you know? It's a bit like the person who wakes up with a pounding headache and hangover and says, I'm never drinking again. But a week later they feel completely different, you know? So that just doesn't work either, really, you know, unless the person is very mature and they really do know themselves on a deep level, right? But often that takes, you know, quite a few years of self-discovery to find that out. So you can't make this agreement with somebody that you're going to feel the exact same way in 5 years or 10 years time. You know, you can't do it, right? So I'm just being honest about all this stuff, and take it as you will. There's more to come, so please keep the comments coming, but start thinking from a place of, stop looking at a place with fear. What if this happened? What if that happened? You know, if you go through life like that with everything, then you're like a little meek mouse. You know, you never express yourself fully. What I want is for you to find your full expression of yourself, because that's what I'm doing myself, right? And hopefully we can all do that. Okay, thanks for watching. Leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe.